Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grand Film Adda. It's a part of the Bangladesh European Union Film Festival. I'm your host for today, Sadia Khalidriti, film critic and screenwriter. Let's first look at the festival trailer and promo.
Yeah, good, but I don't know. It's not. Can you hear it? Can you watch it? Can you try to do it, or just to see if it's?
Hi, so let me introduce you to our very special guest today. So we have the European Union Ambassador, Her Excellency Rens J. Tyrink. We have the Ambassador of the Netherlands, His Excellency Harry Verwij. We have Ambassador of Denmark, Her Excellency Winnie Estrup Peterson. We have Ambassador of Italy, His Excellency Enrico Nunziata. We have the Ambassador of Spain, His Excellency Francisco de Assis Benitez Salas. We have from the Embassy of Sweden, the Charge d'Affaires, Mrs. Christine Johansson. And we have from Goethe Institute, the director, Kristen Hackenbrock. And we have from Alias Process, the director, Mr. Olivier Dintinger. We have DG Europe from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Fayez Murshid Kazi. And we have from Protumalo, the managing editor, Mr. Sajjad Sharif. A very warm welcome to everyone. How are you doing now?
Good.
Great.
Fantastic.
Okay, great. Sorry if I mispronounced some of the names, it's difficult for us. So let's start with EU Ambassador. So this is the first time we're organizing this festival in 20 years. We have European films alongside Bangladeshi films. And it has been quite a hit among the audience, and had lots of views. And how do you feel about the success of this festival so far?
Well, first of all, hello to everyone. Welcome, and I'm delighted to be participating here at this remarkable launch. Warm welcome also to my good friend Fayaz Kazi from the government of Bangladesh, our DG Europe, our heads of the cultural institutions, Goethe Institute and Alliance Française, and of course my fellow ambassadors. Very happy to welcome you all. For so far, I think this is far more successful than we could have anticipated. We so many really a run on the tickets, and I think what is quite new in this festival is that we have a good mix of Bangla and European films. Also, for the very first time, European films with Bangla subtitles. So, of course, this can reach a much larger audience in the country. So just to say that we're all very, very pleased with the success so far. And let me also thank my colleagues from the EU delegation who have really done an excellent job also in making this happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And is there a film you would like to recommend for us to watch from this festival?
I think there are so many good films, but if I want to maybe recommend one film, it's Menalap. We already showed it in the margins of the launch of our Decent Work Team Europe initiative.
Mhm.
And so this is one film I thought was very interesting. But of course, I would really also very much urge all the viewers to also watch the European films, because it's not really every day that we can see such good films, award-winning films. I know that many Bangladeshis now have access to Netflix, to other streaming platforms, but the interesting thing here is that these are films that are not usually being streamed. But I shouldn't be the only one recommending the films. I would like to also give the opportunity to my fellow EU ambassadors to maybe talk a little bit about the films that come from their particular member states. So back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, we'll be getting to each of the films individually. But before that, can we ask everyone that you've been in Bangladesh, and some of you for longer than others, and can you share some of the experience you've had with local people, say local cuisines and local places you've visited, and experiences in general in Bangladesh?
Specifically to me?
I'd like to welcome everyone to pitch in this.
Yeah. Are you specifically asking this to me or to the whole group of ambassadors?
Whole group, you can start, please.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have to say I'm very sadly concluding my 4 years tenure here in Bangladesh. So I think I've really managed to travel a lot in the country and to discover a lot of the different facets that Bangladesh has to offer. And it was a fantastic experience. I came from Nepal, and so it was a great contrast from a mountainous country to a river delta. But what really struck me the most is the hospitality of the people and the entrepreneurship and resilience. And the only regret I have is that due to COVID, I haven't been able to travel more, because that is what I wanted to do. But so far, it has been a very good experience. A lot of things to take back.
Okay. And can we go around the room? Does anyone else want to please share their experience here? Okay. Okay. I'd like to request Sajid from Prothomalo to please say something as the host.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sadia. Good afternoon to the guests participating here and all the film enthusiasts out there who are listening to us. Brand welcome to everyone to this Grand Film Adda, a very intelligent episode of ongoing Bangladesh European Union Film Festival. It's a very happy, important and meaningful moment for us. We are on a platform where diverse cultures and experiences, dreams and aspirations of the humankind of different corners of the mighty globe are converging through a creative art medium called cinema. We felt extremely delighted to be partner of this film festival, and we feel really elated to have the organizers to have the organizers of the film festival with us today and with other dignitaries. We do have, as you said, Sadia, that Her Excellency Ms. Ranjit Ring, Ambassador of the European Union, Honorable Ambassadors of Denmark, Netherlands, Italy, Sweden, and Spain, and the Director of the Alliance Française and Goethe Institute of Bangladesh, and the Director General Europe of Foreign Ministry of Bangladesh. I warmly greet all of you on mine and Prothomalo's behalf. From our experience of doing journalism for the last couple of decades, we have seen that the people of Bangladesh are very much interested in global affairs and open to embrace all the new things happening around the globe. You see, hence, we happily became the partner of this grand event to bring in the Bangladeshi film lovers in this festival. We used all our media platforms, including online, video channels, and social media, publishing news, videos, and other communication materials. We have planned 10 online shows till the festival ends on 30th June. In Bangladesh, this is the first ever EU Film Festival, but it is heartening to see that extremely positive responses we are watching, from Bangladeshi viewers, We knew it will happen. And this is the reason why we became the part of this festival. We, Prothom Alo, deeply believe in the creative enthusiasm and endeavors of the youth and general peoples of Bangladesh. And we are overwhelmed to watch their creative spirit in the programs like Math Olympiad, Physics Olympiad, Merrill Prothom Alo Entertainment Award, Best Book Award, Sports Award, that we etc. We are organizing and supporting throughout our last couple of years. We hope it will keep. They will coming back in Bangladesh with us as partner. Friendship is a thing that has its life connection with the culture. It is significant that friendship between EU and Bangladesh is given its form in front while we are celebrating 50th years of our liberation war. This festival is showcasing the films from EU and Bangladesh, themes ranging from endangered ecology and climate change, immigration, and
country, and I feel very proud that the past 3 years I'm also on the verge of leaving, that I've been able to experience that. So that's what I just wanted to say by way of introduction. So you have not seen the film, so it's a bit difficult for me to say a lot about it, but let me just say it's about a grandmother and a granddaughter, basically. The grandmother slipping away in Alzheimer's disease, and the granddaughter, as the grandmother slips away in this disease, picks up responsibility, and as they go along, they bond, and it's a very sweet thing. And it also touched my heart very specifically, also personally, because my father died of Alzheimer, and I have experienced similar aspects of a relationship that you have to bond. So also my sons, his grandsons, really bonded with him, basically much more than you do as a son or as a daughter. So that was really that's a really touching thing to see. And I think what is quite interesting is that whereas first, the granddaughter didn't really want to go to the grandmother, but as she became more and more needy of her assistance, the relationship actually flourished and transformed into a very, equal relationship. And I think, if you see that that people slipping away in Alzheimer, you just forget sometimes the person that they were in the past, the real deep personality that's still there. And I think in this film, the granddaughter manages to get this deep, humorous, lively personality that the grandmother was back together. And I think that was also a kind of a natural understanding that these two people, the granddaughter and grandmother, have. So I found it a very sweet, nice film, notwithstanding the fact that, of course, Alzheimer is a very sad disease. And I found it is a real effort to get the real personality of someone with this illness back to life and back in the forefront. So I think that's, I hope this is a response to your question, and I hope that everyone, will take some time to watch this film. Thank you, Sadia.
Yeah, I actually saw it. I saw all of the films here, and yeah, I mean, it was kind of, it was touching to see this, grandmother having to go through this transition, especially, when they're from this family with this single mother. So, I mean, there's not a lot of people to take care of her. So that creates more issues there. So yeah, it was a nice watch. And okay, since we had some issues playing the trailer, I'm just going to move on to the next film. Thank you, Ambassador, for pitching in. So next we're gonna talk about a film from Denmark. It's called Daniel, and it's actually based on true events about a photographer named Daniel Wright, and he was captured by the ISIS for 13 months. And I would like to ask the ambassador of Denmark, when this was really happening, what was the reaction of the Danish society at the time?
Thank you very much. Let me first express my great pleasure to participate on behalf of Denmark in this film festival, the first of its kind in Dakar. And with this excellent and thought-provoking film, a Danish movie called Daniel. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank the EU, my EU colleagues, and Professor Marlow for partnering with us to set this whole thing up. Now, this film is a very powerful and true story about the Danish photographer, as you mentioned. He decided to go to Syria in 2013 on his own, just to take pictures of children and peaceful landscapes far away from the war-torn Aleppo at that time. But events turned out so quite differently. And during 13 months, he was kept hostage by ISIS in Syria, together with other foreigners at the time. For instance, the American journalist James Foley, you may have heard of, and James first became Daniel's friend, and later he was brutally killed. So when the event went on, and please keep in mind that it was more than a year in suspense for himself, his family, friends, and indeed the Danish society that reacted with horror, of course, of this event, but also a lot of sympathy towards his family and friends throughout this long nightmare. And even more so, of course, when James Foley was so brutally murdered. So Daniel's family, a very ordinary family in Denmark, they actually managed to raise 12 million Danish kroner, almost 2 million euro for his release. The Danish state does not pay ransom, but they do allow private families to do. And what was very impressive also, during all this time, the Danish press agreed not to reveal any details about the negotiations, the proceedings, the amounts, etc., for fear of thwarting the fragile negotiations for his release. But after he returned, the media wrote of him extensively, labeling him as tortured, as unstable, and many other things. Whereas Daniel was just hoping to go back to his old life after that. And that was actually what made him decide to tell his own version of the whole story, first to a famous Danish journalist. So it was made a bestseller book, and the book is the basis of the film. Now, you also ask whether the instructor has actually managed to capture that extended suspension of teaching events. I leave for the viewers to decide, but I can reveal that the movie is really emotional. I followed Daniel during his capture, his and how the family back in Denmark manages the whole situation. And at another level, it's also a story about the consequences of extremism and terrorism on individuals and families. Well, I hope this was a teaser, and I hope that you will enjoy the film very much and praise for a very violent story, I would say. And so thank you again to all those, and I certainly look forward to seeing some of the films myself. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And yes, it did. It did capture the tension very nicely. And also at the beginning, I had actually mixed him up with the other Daniel that was captured there, Daniel Pearl, who had another movie made of him. And I would ask the audiences to not Google him before watching the film, because then you. Thank you so much. Moving on to Italy. So we have this film here from Italy that's called My Brother Does Dinosaurs. So it narrates a story of a family who's dealing with a child with Down syndrome. And I'd like to ask the ambassador of Italy to say a few words about your thoughts on the film.
Yes, thank you so much, and a very good afternoon to everyone. So also from my side, the best wishes for this wonderful initiative. We also have recently organized is the lightness. This issue of diversity and acceptance is tackled without any moralizing. So it is not a movie that wants to be pathetic. On the contrary, also the director has chosen to use the comedy to tell this story, which otherwise would have been, of course, results in a more dramatic storytelling, let's say. This movie is all about, as I said, diversity and acceptance. And first of all, the main character is the elder brother, and it's also about his own acceptance as an adolescent. Not only the acceptance of the diversity of his brother, and also the fear to be accepted, not to be accepted by the group. One of the main scenes of the movie that has particularly impressed me, I think, that is when the elder brother Jack is telling me the truth, is recognizing his mistake, and tells to everybody how much he loves his brother, how special his brother he is, and how he's proud of him. So this is the real passage, let's say, from the main character, the passage to the acceptance, the full acceptance of diversity of his brother. So in the movie, we can also see how Giovanni is the younger brother, the brother with the Down syndrome, is actually very well integrated at the school, for instance, and in the family. So this actually reflects the reality also of the Italian society nowadays in dealing with children with Down syndrome. In Italy, inclusion of Down syndrome in mainstream schools has been enforced since 1971, and special classes that were abolished in 1977. Since then, the level of inclusion in society are higher and higher for children and people with Down syndrome. If we look at the results of some scientific studies, we can see that while individuals with Down syndrome show a decrease in IQ with the increase of chronological age, the Italian situation does not seem to have this tendency. And this is certainly for the level of inclusion that we have reached so far in dealing with children and adults with.
Yes. So it's a nice, heartwarming film that dealt with this issue, and we can actually watch the trailer now. The trailer for
Very,
Jesus Dinosaur.
very good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Sarà diverso da voi, sarà un po' meno agile di voi, mio fratello era più che speciale, era un supereroe. Fratello è un caso eccezionale.
This is a film, a very recent film, 2019 by Oliver Laxe. Oliver Laxe is one of our young promises of Spanish contemporary cinema. He was born in Paris, son of Galician immigrants. Galicia is a region he knows very well because it is his family's region, and it is a region situated north of Portugal, in the northwestern corner of Spain. It's traditionally being a part of all the northern region of Spain, which is known as the green Spain because it has a very big forest cover, vegetation cover, and a very big amount throughout the year of rainfall. Although it is interesting that the scenario was written by Laxe, the director himself, with sample with help by Mr. Santiago Fillol, and the actors are non-professional actors from a certain region, the Sierra de Ancares, which is he wants to give the story, have a story as close to a real situation as possible. This is a fictitious story, of course, but it reflects a true situation. Spain, being a southern European country, is particularly suffering from forests and wildfires. It's a situation. It's a phenomenon that is increasing year by year, and is particularly affecting Galicia. And Galicia, because of this forest cover, there's a lot of vegetation, and every year the number of forest fire is increasing. And this is very harmful to Galicia, because Galicia, having traditionally been an isolated region, people were very attached to their rural communities' way of lives and traditional way of lives. And this traditional way of life, depending on the forest and the forest cover. And the forest fires are progressively destroying this forest cover, contributing to climate change, reducing the amount of rainfall, and forcing many of these rural communities to emigrate. Of course, this phenomenon of forest fire is not only special and concentrated in Galicia, it affects the whole country. In Spain, we have every year, the amount of rainfall is diminishing, and I have seen it for myself. I come from the southeast region of Spain, where we get little rainfall. I remember when I was a kid, the rainfall levels were higher than today's, and this reduction over the years has forced many people living in the rural areas to emigrate to other countries, to emigrate to other regions, and to emigrate to other cities. So this is a really, I think this thing reflects very well the problem of the destruction of natural habitats, the destruction of traditional way of life, the destruction of rural communities, the increase of immigration. Of course, there's another problem that very rightfully the film touches upon, is that forest fires are not always due to natural causes. Many times they are provoked by arsons, and this is one thing that is reflected in this movie. Of course, arsonists respond to different interests in the region. In Spain, as I mentioned before, this is a recurring phenomenon, causing greater and greater concern, and so big and so important that every year, at the beginning, at the start of the spring season, the government prepares for the government at national level and at regional level prepares the wildfire and the forest fire season. So with a whole structure and a whole system of people, of firefighters, of planes to fight against forest fires in the whole territory of the country. So in my opinion, as I said before, this film reflects very well through a fictitious story, a true situation.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And yes, I'm sure we can all play a part in resolving this.
Thank you.
Yes. And okay, next up we have but not being able
না সে আগে 10 জনের নেবে ওনার ওখানে সমস্যা হচ্ছে
Take the moment for this. Okay, great. Okay, so Ms. Christine, I'd like to ask you, Christine's characters.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to start with echoing my EU team colleagues that it's really great to be part of this film festival. And then it comes to this Swedish film Sami Blood from 2016. I mean, rarely has the situation of the Sami under Kernes film. The tension arises immediately when the main character, Ella-Maja, strong, almost hateful, distancing herself from her Sami relatives and at her little sister's funeral that begins the film. How can it be that she so strongly rejects her own cultural background? Sorry, you don't hear me?
Yes, we hear
Hello?
you. There was an echo.
Thank you. Anyway, right or wrong, it turns out as the story progresses that there are explanations for her actions. And at the same time, one can ponder what is right and wrong in this life. Since about the Sami people, you asked me, I mean, since ancient times, the Sami people have lived in an area that today spans between 4 countries. It's the northern parts of Russia, Finland, Norway, and Sweden. And traditionally, reindeer husbandry has been their main source of income. A common estimate today is that there are between 80,000 and 100,000 Sami people in the world. And in Sweden, they are estimated to be between 20 and 40,000. But only around 3,000 of the Sami in Sweden today still fully depend on reindeer husbandry as their main source of income. The Sami people today are recognized as an indigenous people and a national minority in Sweden, and Sami as a language has been recognized as a minority language in Sweden. But as we see in this film, in 1930, then Ella-Maja and her little sister starts at a Sami boarding school. The public view of the Sami was very different, and they were considered as inferior to Swedes. Sami children were forced to study separated from the family and also from the separate Swedish society. The purpose was that even if they were forced to learn and only speak Swedish, they should know their place, that they were Sami, and that so they should remain. And then the main character in the film, Ella-Maja, wants to train as a teacher. Her Swedish teacher says that her brain is not sufficient developed for that. Something that, according to the teacher and also racial researchers in Sweden at that time, applied to all Samis. But Ella doesn't accept. Against all odds, she managed to get to her dream city, Uppsala, and to study at university. And one can sort of understand that she actually make the class trip of her dreams herself and become a teacher finally. But Ella-Maja and her sister who stays in the traditional Sami life of reindeer husbandry, they make very different choices. And the question is, who did the right thing? Has Ella-Maja betrayed her Sami background and thus lost her roots? And has she really won a better life? The film doesn't give the answers, but there is no doubt that she had to pay a high price. When she returns to the Sami village to attend her sister's funeral, she is tormented by grief and loss. Sami Blood, the film is thoroughly thoughtfully captivating. My favorite actress must be, of course, Lina Cecilia Sparrow. She's brilliant in this in her first major role, and I tried to pick a favorite scene, but I think it is when she has come to Uppsala and she managed to enter and get admitted to the advanced school class. I hope that you, who might not yet have seen this film, that you have been encouraged to do so now. Thank you, Donovan.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it would be hard to pick a favorite scene from this movie. There were very, very many of those. Okay, so next up we have a film from Germany. It's called The Audition. And to speak about it, I'd like to invite Christine, director of Goethe Institute. And I enjoyed watching the film, and I wanted to ask you, is it common for children to learn violin in Germany? And did you grow up learning it too? Kristen.
Thank you very much, Sadia, and thanks to the EU delegation for organizing this film festival and to all the partners on board. Yeah, first of all, on the film, it is a portrait where Nina Hoss, renowned actress in Germany, brilliantly and very disturbingly portrays a woman who's a violin teacher and who's in a very deep inner conflict. So it's about trauma, and it's a film that I felt because Anna, the violin teacher, is very desperate, very obsessive about her teaching, very merciless, and at the same time feels very insecure. The music learning in Germany is certainly something that is very, very common. There's a lot of early childhood training courses in Germany, and me to the high school, which was a very big day because I was 5 years old. I wasn't even in primary school, and then the high school was converted into this open day of the music school, and then in every single chamber of the room of the classroom of the high school, you could visit a different instrument teacher and test the instrument and see whether you take a liking in it, and then select it for basically learning the instrument. I learned the flute, or better to say, several types of recorder. I played for many, many years and enjoyed both playing the classics, but then later on went more into kind of the modern 20th century music. So, but my teaching and learning experience was not as in the film that is portrayed. So as I said, like the film really is very, very tense, and I think it's brilliant to watch. I really recommend it. Maybe I'll also tell you my favorite scene, because the film is very, like, creates a lot of unease watching her being in this deep trauma and inner conflict. And then there's one scene where she's in a restaurant with her husband or partner, and she changes tables 3 times because she couldn't find the right table to sit at. And then she orders like the perfect meal, and then it comes and she realizes, no, that's not what she wants. She wants her partner's food. And then they swap again and the partner just does it. And that's a scene that's kind of a relief in the film, which is very tense. So this is kind of a comical, almost comical scene that kind of takes the tension out for a couple of minutes.
Yes. And it also shows their, the nature of the relationship between these people.
Yep.
She definitely wears the pants in the relationship. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Next, we have a film from France. It's called Perfume. So, so when we think of France, I mean, perfume definitely comes to mind, maybe right after Eiffel Tower. And but we never really see what goes on in the lives of these perfume makers. Can you tell us about, I'd like to invite the director of Alles Process to speak for this. Can you tell us about, are the perfume makers like Anne in this, as shown this film?
I don't know. So, bonjour, good afternoon. So first of all, I would like to congratulate the EU delegation for the organization of this fantastic film festival, promoting cultural diversity with an excellent selection of European movie on Bangladeshi movies. I don't know many knows perfume makers, but I think Perfume, the film of Grégory Magne, featuring two fantastic actors, Emmanuel DeVos and Grégory Montel, that you might have seen in the series on Netflix called My Agent, is really a feel-good tale of friendship between two lonely adults. And as you mentioned, Sadia, it's the context is this perfume industry on. Basically, the plot is the following. We have Anne Wahlberg, who is a master in perfume, what we call a nose. She creates fragrances and sells her incredible gift to many companies. She's a diva, selfish, temperamental, and she's confronted to a personal driver facing financial difficulty, and is the only person who dares facing her. So there's many layers in this movie. I think it's really a subtle comedy with talented actors. But one of the most interesting aspects of this movie is really the discovery of all the mechanism of the high-end perfume industry, the creation of fragrances, the other aspects as well about creation of scent, at a certain point of the movie. She's creating a scent for a factory, then for leather bags. So it's really a kind of insight in this really peculiar industry. But it's always very difficult to summarize a movie. But I highly recommend the viewer to watch Perfumes, because I think after a year of pandemic, they will discover a fantastic and subtle film which will lift up their spirits. It's really refreshing on intelligence, so it's not to be missed. So in this specific context, personally, I really enjoy very much watching this French movie. And if I can just add, Cannes Festival, despite the pandemic, is about to start in a couple of weeks. And once more, there's an illustration of the dynamism of the Bangladeshi cinema industry with the participation of different persons. So we have the selection of the Bangladeshi film Rehana Mariam Noor from the director Abdullah Mohamed Saad, official selection in the selection Un Certain Regard, on the participation of Arifur Rahman in the mentoring program La Fabrique at Cannes for a movie called Eka, and I think Arifur was instrumental in this EU film festival. So I'm happy that once more Bangladesh, with so many famous actors and really and directors, will be represented in this major festival. Merci Sadia, and good luck to the end. Still 8 days to go for this festival, and I hope that many viewers will be able to enjoy this fantastic selection.
Yes, so much. And yeah, we're very happy that after 74 years, we got our first official selection at Cannes. Yeah, so we're very happy for that. Okay, so next up is our DG Europe from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Fayaz Morshid Kazi. I'd like to ask you, so in this festival, Mr. Fayaz, are you here?
Yes, Sadia, thank you very much. And thanks very much, of course, to the Team Europe and Prothomalo for making me part of this stellar gathering. While listening to our friends and colleagues here, it felt like I was actually listening to some art or cultural or film critics instead of diplomats. And that's perhaps the beauty of the profession that we all like and cherish so much. Again, special thanks to Ambassador Thiring. I mean, we are sad to see her leave Bangladesh soon, but this was one of her most beautiful parting songs, and I'm sure she feels very proud about what she has managed to pull together. So thank you very much for doing this. As we often hear from our young authors, filmmakers, and other talents, that there are a lot of stories to be told about Bangladesh to the outside world. So thank you for creating this opportunity, for offering this window to our local talents. And hopefully with your support, we can take this to different parts of Europe as we look forward to celebrating the 50th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. Sajjad Sharif has actually made all the official statements, and I'm tempted to remind him that we actually knew each other, Sajjad Bhai. I don't know if you remember, in what feels like another lifetime, when we were pretending to be budding intellectuals under your tutelage. And it's very good to see you once again after all this time. But Sadia, I'm perhaps avoiding your question because I have to shamefully admit that I haven't seen any of the three films that were premiered, and I think the EU delegation is partly responsible. They managed to keep us busy recently with a number of things, and that perhaps explains. But I did watch the trailers, and one of the films that particularly drew my attention, I would love to see, is called Free Spirits. It's labeled as a creative documentary. I personally believe in the power of one, and the agency of change that each individual can have. And it seemed like that this documentary did feature and celebrate some such individuals from our society. I would very much like to see what they have to say and how they're keeping up with their struggles. And within my own social or professional comfort zone, of course, it's easy to say that, but we can perhaps very well understand the trials and tribulations that each of them has to experience as they try to navigate the traditions, stereotypes, and other obstacles that they continue to face. But I would personally draw hope from the fact that in this part of Bengal, especially in Bangladesh, our socio-cultural ethos has been largely shaped by people like Kazi Nazrul Islam or Rokeya Sakhawat Hussain, who I'm sure during their own times had been also considered to be free spirits, a bit of outsiders. But see how our society kind of mainstreamed them, not just mainstreamed them, hallowed them, sanctified them, and actually considered them to be our icons and role models. So we would always cheer these individuals who continue to shake our value systems, who try to get us think outside the box and maybe try to drag us out of our comfort zone. So all kudos to that, and I would definitely look forward to watching that. And to wrap up, of course, this is a very good beginning. I'm pleased to hear, we are pleased to hear that this is the first time this initiative has been launched, and let's hope that it gets sustained. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Since a lot of you are very much crunched for time, I would also recommend, we have some short films. Those are almost as long as the trailers, so some of you can watch it. Okay, thank you so much. So on that note, before finishing, I'd like to invite the EU ambassador to say a few things about this event. I mean, this has been a remarkable collaboration between Bangladeshi and European films, and how do you think this can be taken forward?
Thank you very much, Sadia. And first of all, let me also underline that we're so happy that we managed to do this with Protom Alo. And so my very warm thanks to Mr. Sajjad Sharif, because it's thanks to your platform that this event has really received so much publicity. The outreach has been very impressive. I mean, Protom Alo, I think, boasts the largest Facebook page in Bangladesh, more than 60 million likes. And it's thanks to your willingness to partner with us that we really managed to get this wonderful publicity for our festival. So that I really wanted to underline, and I hope that this is just the start of a collaboration on cultural cooperation between the EU and Bangladesh. And now a very important question indeed is, how do we take this forward? I was informed that so many years back, sometime in 2004, was the last time we actually organized an EU-Bangladesh Film Festival. Why hasn't it happened after that? I'm not quite sure, but I think if we managed to pull this off during a COVID pandemic on a virtual platform, I think we're very well positioned to continue this fully next year. And my biggest wish would be, of course, that once that is over, once we're all safe, and especially once Bangladesh is coming out of this, that we could hold a festival, maybe select a few cinemas in Dhaka, maybe also Chittagong, where we could host. Be my dream. Of course, even though I will be heading back in Brussels, I will be very much still following Bangladesh, and I would really hope to see that happen. So once again, let me also thank again my fellow EU ambassadors. Let me thank you, Olivier and Kirsten, for your participation. That was also, I think, the unique and the cultural cooperation between our delegations and your institutions has been very, very valuable. We have had many big events, but this, I think, is really the crown on what we've done so far. And then lastly, Sadia, thank you for being such a great host and a moderator of this panel. And as well will benefit from the final days that the festival is going on, to see all the films I haven't been able to watch so far. So there again, Donobat, and please enjoy the films, and thanks very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Donobat to you too, and we'll be very sad to see you go. But as you said, we will look forward to having this every year in the future, and we'll try to make it bigger and better. And on that note, we will end today. Thank you all our guests for being here, and thank you everyone watching from your homes. We really hope you come back to see the films and the events we have in the coming days, and have a very good rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.